Alright guys, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to discuss something very new and unique in the game that is a little bit unorthodox, and some of the best players in PvP have this specific build right now with a Sentry with a CTP of Liberation that's brilliant. And I showcase the stats, and Sentry becomes a meta support with this CTP, and it combines extremely well with a Colossus with brilliant insight. Now, you're going to see me go through various matches, and you're going to see my teams that I've been using for a few months. You're going to see them win, and you're going to see them struggle. Now, the stats of decreased chain hit combine very well with the decreased additional pierce damage received from insight. So, you're going to see something very unique. And if you like what you're seeing, don't forget to hit the subscribe button. Now, let's get into it. So, the key is, you gotta get the debuff removal out of the way, because with debuff removal, this I fight a Brilliant Conquest Warlock and a Brilliant Conquest Surfer later. These guys are pretty much unkillable under debuff removal. You have to hit them with statistics. You have to hit them with debuffs over time, so you get the kill, because you're not going to be able to get the kill, right? So I first found this team like about a week ago, and I had to test, and I gotta say, this Brilliant Conquest Warlock was some of the toughest, if not the toughest, I've ever fought in this current meta, with the Pierce nerf that occurred a few months ago. I used to be able to handle Brilliant Conquest Atoms before the Pierce nerf, and they were extremely strong. Now, with this combination of a double support of two support CTPs, this is arguably the toughest teams I've faced, I feel. And as of right now, Carl, who's the top player in Challenger for the past month or so, he has this exact build. So I'm going to go over how to fight them, right? And the first thing I say is to make sure you get that debuff removal active. So characters like Warlock, characters like Surfer, they override it with their debuff removal from their skills, right? So you're going to have to take a few hits, but over time you should be able to at least get a kill with one of your meta. But you have to be very, very careful. And, I obviously recommend playing on manual. But as you can see, because I got the debuff removal off, I killed him essentially with debuffs, which is what you gotta do. And then, just because Sentry has this brilliant liberation does not make him weak. He's pretty strong both offensively and defensively, particularly defensively. As you can see, I am using multiple skills to still kill him. I do have a tier 3 Sentry, but still, it was pretty much the same with many of my tier 4s that I was using. This Sentry is quite formidable, and he can use this CTP. Sentry has always been CTP versatile. Now, is Liberation his best? No. But it makes other meta extremely tanky, especially with the decreased chain hit. Now, like I said a few times, Insight as a support is better than Liberation as a support for its support buffs. However, Liberation is better for the character overall than Insight for various reasons. Number one, it gives guard break immunity. Number two, the statistic of the defense, decreased chain hit, is still very, very solid. And on top of that, it increases all attack and increases instinct type attack. So it's pretty formidable. It's decent as a standalone. It's not the best though, but combined with Insight is key. So I mean, for example, my Jean Grey can usually take on Brilliant Conquest Adams pretty easily if I know the skill rotation. This, nah. I struggled kind of hard because you also have to catch both Adam and Silver Surfer. You can better catch them when they're not under invincibility. When they are under invincibility, they're even harder to kill. So, rule number one, get rid of the debuff removal. Rule number two, make sure you attack while they're not under damage immunity or invincibility. Now here, you know, you're going to see that Spider-Man, who I could usually one-shot very easily, is struggling very hard to kill that Sentry. And usually my Spider-Mans are like very good against Sentries, even the Brilliant Conquest ones, especially not under debuff removal. But it's taking my Spider-Man with Greed, and granted he has no support, but it's taking him multiple rotations and a tier 3 skill to kill him properly, and I still couldn't make it. On top of that, Sentry's, because he has a Brilliant Liberation, Sentry's attack is fluctuating. Sometimes his attack is actually really, really strong, and sometimes it's not at all. So, like, as you can see here too, like, my Spider-Man was struggling against a Warlock that he's not supposed to struggle against. But of course, Jean takes him out quite easily still, but it does take a whole rotation of almost all of her skills. Ghost Rider can't even touch the surface. Spider-Man, same thing. Like, maybe he can get him with the fit skill here. Yeah, look how many rotations it's taking. And I had to get him with debuffs. The only reason why that damage spiked like that is because I debuffed him. Just like right... Ooh, no, not right there. But after this rotation. I get him right here. Yeah, there you go. It's pretty nifty. You know, Jean with Rage is still really strong if you know how to use her. You know. And with various teams, you know, I'm able to kill this Warlock in multiple different ways. I could use Reflect, right? I cannot kill him with Force. And you're going to see right here, like with my tier 3 Silver Surfer, I cannot kill him with Brute Force. I have to use Reflect. Unless I try to run away and I use another rotation, which may work, but no, it's not. So usually if you time the Reflect correctly, meaning you cancel Warlock skills quickly, you could actually properly reflect the damage even with Brilliant Conquest. So there's ways to go around it, but the only ways you could really do it is through manual play. Or if you have a perfect build on your cards and your swords and your CTP. So as you can see, I keep trying to use Brute Force and it's not working. And I hear a lot of people struggling even at their meta at tier 4. So with this video, I provide alternatives to try to combat a potential future team that could dominate the meta, at least for like a certain period of time. So there I run away from Warlock's 4, gets the damage proc, kills Warlock. Unfortunately, I have to use another decoy. It's a little risky, but that's the only way. As of right now, that's the only way I can kill that Warlock with Silver Surfer. And then here, I got myself a reflect kill with a counter. So, of course, that's going to be the weakness of Sentry with a Brilliant Liberation, is his ability to get reflected. Well, it's not really an ability, but you know what I mean. So, you know, this team struggled the most against this Warlock. I actually have to use Sue more in this situation. Because she could easily catch him in charm, but I have to be very careful. I have to actually combine 4 skills of Adam under a proc in order for me to actually kill this Warlock properly, combined with the Pierce beatdown as well for my energy. And even then, I wasn't killing him as consistently as I thought. So I then came to the conclusion that I must use Sue at a very specific time. And in some cases, I have to use Doom as a complete decoy, because Doom is not even gonna like scrape the surface either. Now the good thing is that I could tank Warlocks 2, and then I can charm him. He doesn't heal, he gets snared. So then I gotta use Doom as a decoy, because Doom is doing nothing. None of that. On top of that, this is a slightly different opponent. I did kill Joey with this same team, but I accidentally deleted the video, so I had to remake it. And I still did the same method, so it's all good. But this build was slightly weaker than Joey's. However, I fight Carl towards the end half of the video, and you're going to see how strong he is. And he's got way more HP on his cards, so you'll notice the difference, right? So here Colossus is like brutal. Like he sometimes cancels my skills completely, so I have to be careful. I gotta run away from Warlock skills and then combine all of them to get that kill. I have to combine all of them. I'm going to try to run away here too. Catch him when he's not under invincibility and charm. Easy kill. Now Doom still can't scrape the surface. Against this Sentry, he can only buy me time. Maybe at tier 4 he can get that kill. But nah, the whole team is formidable. I usually have a tactic where I cancel my 2 and my 4 into my 5 or something like that. But that doesn't work either, because Sentry can one-shot me. So here I use Deadpool as a meat shield, because Deadpool is absolutely not touching that Warlock either. He's not even coming close. But Quicksilver is so good. If you know how to use Quicksilver properly, Quicksilver is a Atom killer. Like, he's the best. He's probably one of my best Atom killers. Maybe second to Thanos, because Thanos actually wrecks this Warlock pretty easily. I would say that Thanos is probably a top counter to that Warlock, which is why Thanos is easily top 5. But look at this. Very simple rotation. Nothing crazy, nothing overly sophisticated. And I can do it twice. And Quicksilver has an energy. And he can run away from Sentry right after. And then Wolverine can kill that Liberation Sentry pretty effectively. Now with Thanos, the rotation is pretty simple. Like I said in the previous video, you can cancel 5, 4. You can partially cancel 2 into the first skill. And the first skill dodges Warlock's second skill. On top of that, he could tank Warlock much better than if Warlock were to have a greed or something similar. So there is a pretty easy rotation. The problem is when Sentry catches him in debuff removal. When Sentry catches him, when he's not in debuff removal, Thanos is pretty much screwed. He's going to get caught in debuffs. And since Thanos resets his debuff removal pretty frequently, it's pretty easy for him to get caught in debuffs. So this is why I use a decoy like Colossus or Mantis to dodge those initial skills with debuffs. The steal from Authority helps me greatly, and as long as I have some sort of extra defense from Colossus or Mantis, he will get the full benefit of steal. So here I could also kill him with Carnage still, especially since another weakness of Liberation is a lack of an extra heal. However, that doesn't mean that Sentry isn't strong. So now I'm facing Carl's team, and Carl's team initially had Warlock in it, and there was a couple of clips I accidentally deleted as well, and I later fight his Silver Surfer with Brilliant Conquest, which for a specific team was actually much harder to kill. So I'm actually glad that I showcased it, but it's generally the same here. I use Deadpool as a meat shield. I use him to kill Colossus, which takes like 5 years. And, I initially had a Liberation on him, but I switched him back to Insight because it didn't make much of a difference. And I was initially stating how Quicksilver can kill him twice, Warlock. Well, here's a better showcase of that. Pretty easy. And running away from Sentry. Unfortunately, I can't... Oh, yeah, I can. I can definitely kill Sentry with that Wolverine in the middle of a fit skill, just so long as I use my fit skill right away. Then I switch to my other team. I'm going to use the same tactic, even though Carl's team has much more HP than the other teams. So I'm showcasing how it could work regardless, the reflect tactic. Gotta do it quick, gotta run away from that 4 as quick as you can, so the proc, the damage proc from Warlock's 4 stays, so the damage is much greater, which means the reflect will be much greater. Unfortunately, I always try to cancel a skill before I do that third skill, but I have to use that third skill to save me. And then constantly be in iframe as well. Another interesting thing about Liberation is that there's a stat that's opposite of the decreased chain hit, which is an increase of attack during a certain level of HP that you have, which I think would benefit more in PvE instead of PvP, which is why I think that most of the builds I've come across, people will choose the defensive option. because a lot of these guys have maxed cards anyway. But looking at a lot of these matches, the tactics are very, very similar. So sometimes I confuse myself thinking that I put a duplicate video, but I did not. I'm just going over the defensive nature of this build, and you know, it's pretty crazy. It's no wonder that this guy is the best in PvP right now, and he's been the best for a long time. I mean, he's gotten a few wins in Challenger, but I've fought him for many, many years when Challenger wasn't even around. So I understand his capabilities. I mean, look at his Colossus, you know. But same tactic, catch Warlock while he is not in invincibility, and look how strong he is after so many skills. But I'll eventually get him. Well, I have to probably use Spider-Man for this one. Nah. And we go again. Ghost Rider's biggest opponent is Colossus here. Because Ghost Rider is not going to get me any kind of kill at all. And it's unfortunate. But it doesn't matter. See, that's very annoying when I try to super guard break a toon and he instead gets super guard break immunity before anything pops off, before debuff removal pops off, before he decides to do his fourth skill. Like, this game has a lot of glitches. I'm probably going to do another video on the amount of glitches that I fight. Just when I said that Ghost Rider is not doing well, he goes and he does that. So, proud of the man. Proud of Ghost Rider. He's still viable in PvP. Hopefully Gene can take him on, because he's debuffed. So, you know, I have to make a sacrifice here probably. And then I do 5-4-2. And then I do, yeah, I do that rotation. I try to combine all the skills to get the Enraged proc off. And I land on an Ignore iframe. But yeah, here Thanos is going to easily take down this Warlock. And you could like stall him as well. You could use a decoy just in case. But you'll eventually get him. He has a lot of iframes you can land on. You can dodge his second skill. Of course, he's still going to be extremely tanky. But my Carnage could take him out too, because my Carnage has an energy. With Greed, the Greed has to be brilliant, and I don't have a brilliant Greed. So, energy is perfectly fine. And then, of course, I can take him out with a tier 3 skill. Yeah, this is where I decide to take Carl's Silver Surfer on. And for this team here, it was extremely difficult. Extremely difficult. Very, very strong Silver Surfer. I mean, this is 3 skills of Invisible Woman. The catch is that Invisible Woman also has a CTP of Liberation, but it's at Mighty. But because she's a debuff queen, she could still get the kill. I have to combine all of these procs to get the kill off and delay the second skill perfectly to finish. I have to use everything at Warlock's disposal. Now, granted, if I had somebody like Taskmaster, I could have probably got that one shot. But of course, putting Taskmaster in timeline battle is very risky. Doom can't even get this kill, so I have to rely on Warlock to get it. And I think I can get it. Here, it's 50-50, but if none of Sentry's procs from Liberation or Insight come off, I could live, as so long as I use the second skill and the fourth from range. Here, I just gotta time Sentry at the perfect moment so he doesn't die. I'll probably use Strife and Colossus as a decoy at some point. The Reflect is very, very strong on Silver Surfer, right? So you gotta be careful there, but you also have to combine a bunch of your skills with Sentry in order for him to get that kill. And then make sure that Silver Surfer is off of invincibility as well, so you can get some more damage, because that's gonna happen. And he's gonna reset his debuff removal lead pretty quickly too. Same with Warlock. So timing is key. And if you understand the two rules that I mentioned before, you can win against some of the best players in PvP with pretty average builds. I mean, my builds are not special at all. So if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, comment, all that good stuff. I'm going to leave a link to Stark Industries Discord server. Make sure you check it out. There's a lot of helpful people there. You can get tips on both PvE and PvP. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.